hoping to bounce back from that tough loss to Auburn at home over the weekend. The Gators will take on South Carolina, tipping off at 9 o'clock. Be sure to listen on 1010 a.m. or the 1010 XL app. It's 55 degrees at 2 o'clock time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
Liam Cohen does not have to replace his offensive coordinator or his defensive coordinator or his special teams coordinator for that matter. So that is excellent news. I feel like our show played a part in retaining all three guys, even though Heath Farwell wasn't interviewing for jobs elsewhere, but certainly the former two were.
Yeah, great news. Something I think we all wanted. We'd have been happy if those two guys or one of them had the opportunity to go be a head coach somewhere, but so glad they're back. Keep the band together, keep it all together, grow together. You might not have them very long. You never know with these things, especially with windows of opportunity. But look, if we feel like this is only the beginning, in 2025 for this organization, for this team, they should have plenty more opportunity, moving forward. So, but glad they're back. I'm glad for the defense, especially because I really didn't want, not that you have to start over, but you kind of have to start over. Yeah. This is no starting over. This is retune and refine and, getting better, figuring things out that maybe weren't as good as we need them to be. And then for Trevor, I think it's great that Grant came back. I think you can see everything that he says about how instrumental he's been in his progress and just how the year he had. So, yeah, it's good, man. Everyone's back. They got bump in pay. Mama's happy at home, so good for them. And,
get to stay in Florida.
And get to stay here. Yeah, exactly.
Which most want to if they're done coaching anyways. But, yeah, I think that for developmental purposes, obviously it makes sense. And you saw what both Coach Camp and Coach Cohen have done with each side of the ball. And certain players, we talk about a Devin Lloyd and Antonio Johnson on that side of the ball. And obviously you're talking about Trevor, kind of this resurgence of Travis Etienne, Parker Washington, all of these things on the offensive side of the ball that you just saw progress throughout the year. And so you don't want those things snatched away because, I said yesterday, you're not going to have them forever, but the longer you do, the more you're kind of like digging that foundation deeper, and it feels more solidified in that sense. And so when in a couple years or next year, when you do lose, which I'm guessing one of them or both of them in the next few years, I think they will be head coaches, you at least feel like you've had the time to develop and have this process. And these are not just 1 year of, okay, I learned this for 1 year. Now I have to learn all this new way this next coach coaches or how the things go. So there's a lot of benefits in just the comfortability of how when you have that comfort level with the coach and with players around you. Now, you don't want to get complacent in that. You want Coach Camp and Coach Cohen, which I think they will because we've seen this very early on, to continue to challenge these guys and say, okay, Trevor, great job. You had a great 8 games. There's still things to work on. We saw this in the playoffs, some of the regressions. And so you go right back to work. And that's the positive part, is you're going right back to the work with the guys you trust, and you saw start to build something here.
Yeah, and the momentum, you keep the momentum going. You don't have to reset it at all. You're like, all right, good, let's go. We hit the ground running. Super Bowl will be over before we know it, and we can look forward to 2026. The league year will start in early March. We'll get it going. So I think it's fantastic, and I expect them to be even better because of it. That cohesion, that keeping that all together, that means something. Look, if they promote it from within, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, I don't think, but you never know with those things. They've got a lot of, good energy with both coaches. They have very great value, as you can see. And I'm glad they're back, and I'm sure Liam's glad. And let the season of first ends. Can you imagine first-year head coach loses both coordinators after his first year? You're like, what? That's just pretty hard to do, come back. So I'm glad everybody's back. It's good for the organization.
Yeah, I think the people who win the most are the players who have those close relationships. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence and Grant Udinski. Mm-hmm. But on the defensive side, every single player that we talk to, including Eric Armstead every Friday, raved about Campanile and the energy that he had. And obviously the fundamentals that he taught and the takeaways. God rewards those who run to the football.
Yep.
And those weren't just words, because we saw the takeaways go from 9 total to 31 total, right? Like, that wasn't just a mantra. And we've had that here before, think takeaways, and it didn't go according to plan. And so I do think that's really important. And I also think this now allows Liam Cohen to turn his focus, shift his focus back to that player procurement with James Gladstone and certainly Tony Baselli helping as well. And now be all completely focused on, how do we make this team better? I don't have to worry about replacing these guys.
Right.
How do I make this team better? And certainly that phase begins now, pretty much, right? You got to decide who you're keeping. Like we've talked about.
They're already working on it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure James had been working on it. I'm sure Liam had been partially working on it, but I'm sure part of his attention too was focused on, I've got to have a plan if I lose one or both of these guys. And look, we obviously hope that they become head coaches soon, because what does that mean? This team's successful again. You're not going to get a head coaching job next year if you're on either side of the ball, if they regress.
Yeah, and for most of them have a plan. It's just implementing the plan, and how will that go? You know, because I think they're way smarter than me. I know that, because they would have to think ahead. You know, I just never thought of that. Like, I was like, wow, yeah, you really do. You got to be ready for that. What if someone come and plucks one of your guys, and he's a really well-liked guy and a really good coach, and you really need him, and you're not ready to replace him? You know, like,
well, and there's so much turnover right now in the NFL, so you may have a plan, but now there's still a couple jobs open. So that person that you had in mind may end up being hired by one of the new guys, and so that's why, it's much better to have the official announcement yesterday, and now they can move on.
That's right.
Yeah, and we're talking about guys, I mean, that have also been plucked and poached from other teams, so they know the process of all that, and probably the conversations they had with coaches in the times of being interviewed. We go back and we talk about Liam Cohen, and the Jags were the only one that interviewed him for that head coaching position last year, but a lot of times it's multiple interviews that you're going through, and years of this, of going and kind of learning this whole process. And I know Coach Camp, and being in the world, especially with Green Bay, there's a lot of coaches that are poached there almost every single year, so he probably watched that happen time and time again, and knows how that process worked. And just being kind of having that level. I did a podcast earlier with Coach Bill O'Brien, and it was for the separate podcast I do, but he was talking about this and how it's a bittersweet thing when it comes to your coaches getting poached, because you're proud of them and you want them to go on and succeed and do new things and be great, but it really kind of, there's a lot of things you have to pivot, is what he said, because all of a sudden, like, for example, if Coach Camp were to go somewhere else, you have to get a defensive coach that, number one, kind of has the same every morals and thoughts and feelings of how this defensive scheme. If not, you have to kind of hit the reset button in year 2 with a lot of these guys being developed, and you have to make sure you get someone who's likes some of the moves that you've made, because some of these guys that you brought in that are your guys you want to keep here. Now you have to find a defensive coordinator that believes in that, and so there's a lot of things that all of a sudden overnight you may have to fully pivot and change your thought process. So the fact that the Jaguars do not have to do that this season is fantastic.
Yeah, and replace assistants along with it, you know, because they're going to take at least one, you know, each guy would have. So, hey, it's just great. They solidified it, like you said. Now it's on to building this roster into a monster, right? Not just for 2026, not just for last year, but building that foundation for the future years. And they've got their work cut out for them, but they'll get it done. You know, teams always find a way to get it done, especially with the cap. But you know, they're going to have some tough decisions. There's no doubt. I mean, ETN's one of them. You know, Devin Lloyd's another one. You know, you got to figure out what you're going to really do with those guys. Who are you going to trade? Or are you going to trade? Are you going to, you know, put BT up there? Are you going to put Trayvon out there at all? You know, if you can upgrade the pass rush somehow. You know, a lot of big-time decisions to make. I don't think with Trayvon's going anywhere, but, you know, these are things that you go through. How are you going to make the team better? And then sometimes it's those tough decisions where you're like, I just got to let them go. You know, you got to wish them well, and the team's going to miss them. We're going to miss them. But we got to hope that the guys that we have to replace them are ready now. I mean, you take the running back position again. Like, you drafted these kids to eventually take over for ETN. You didn't know when. It might have been a few years. It might have been right away. You might have saw it right away, but you didn't. You kept ETN, and then he had a great year. And now you got to figure out, are we ready to pass the torch or not? Because if you don't, and you give ETN, and I'm for whatever. If he comes back, great. I love ETN. But if you don't, he does come back. Well, that also hinders that growth and that development of the other two, because they're still going to have to share the load with ETN. You're not going to sit ETN on the bench paying him that money. He's going to get the workload. You want Tootin to take over eventually, I would imagine. unless all of a sudden after 1 year, like, nah, we like him, but we're going to go look for another running back in the offseason if ETN goes. You know what I mean? Or maybe they say, you know what, they're not ready, and we need ETN for the next at least 2 years, so let's take care of him and keep him here.
Yeah, I'd love that slower transition of ETN is here next year, but they split more of the carries between ETN and Tootin. But that's in a perfect dream world where, because obviously you'd be paying ETN a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it's just as a fan, I'd love to be able to, instead of passing the torch fully to Tootin, be able to share the load, just because it is a lot. I mean, to go from, I don't know how many carries Tootin had this season, but he missed obviously a little bit of time with that finger, and overall he wasn't getting a huge share. So to go from that to how many carries ETN had, and then also receiving out of the backfield, that is a massive jump. But again, they drafted him in the 4th round.
Right.
So that part of things is interesting. Or do they believe they can draft another guy, have another group of a trio of 3 backs? Do they believe they can just sign somebody? I saw a free agent list of running backs, and one of them was Daria Gumbawale. I was like, okay,
right.
just
That's
making,
familiar.
exactly, making those circles in the NFL.
Yeah, and you see other teams. Detroit Lions were one of the ones that already they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, then paid money to David Montgomery, and they split. They kind of have the split system. It lessened a little bit this year. David Montgomery wasn't as much of a role, didn't play as much of a role this season as he did last year, especially. But you see teams do that more and more in the sense of having 2 backs, and maybe backs that do a little bit different things. And you have that third down kind of run up the middle back, and an ETN who can do that. But we've talked about those perimeter runs, and he's a better pass catcher. We've seen a lot of teams kind of skew towards that.
Right.
The money is where it comes in. How much are you going to have to pay?
Right.
When you talk about ETN here, because they did pay David Montgomery a little over $8 million. And a lot of people were like, that's crazy. You just drafted a really good running back. Why are you spending that much? It worked for them last year, but then now what? You kind of went backtracked this year, and it didn't work out in your favor for the longevity. And maybe it bounces back. Who knows? But it's so unpredictable when it comes to running backs in that sense.
I mean, look at both teams in the Super Bowl. Now, Charbonnet's hurt, but they had a one-two punch.
Two-headed monster, yeah.
Same with New England with Henderson and Stevenson, right?
Yeah. The Bears did it too with Monongai and Swift. Yeah. It was very similar.
Yeah. So, but that's where it's just the contract comes in. Because you got to play him.
Right.
If you pay him, you got to play him.
This team isn't swimming in cash as far as the cap's concerned. Okay, so the carries, Bashal Tootin this season had 83 carries, and then he had 10 receptions. ETN had 260 carries and 36 receptions. So again, it's certainly
3 times.
Massive jump up. But again, it all depends on what their evaluation of the situation is.
What was his yards per carry? Do you have it handy?
Tootin's? I'll look.
Because it was a little lower, but then I thought
3.7.
Yeah, that's not...
83 carries, 307 yards, 3.7, and then ETN 4.3. 260 carries for just over 1,100 yards, 4.3.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of production to replace, but can you do it with the 2? That's the question. And and forego the payment.
Right.
And then use that money for other parts of the team that may need it more than running back right now.
Yep.
And that's a sacrifice you have to make. You love ETN. He's a great guy. Nobody wants to see him leave, but for the betterment of the team and the organization, you may have to make that tough decision.
Why I could never be a general manager, because my emotions would get involved with these types of things, and James Gladstone cannot have emotions when it comes to this type of stuff.
And then look, but the good thing with ETN, he's going to have a market. So
he's getting paid.
Yeah, he's going to go somewhere.
ETN will be just fine.
Right.
Yeah, we'll start there.
So that helps.
Yeah.
That helps.
Is it all the people who have the #1 jersey with Travis Etienne jersey? How do they feel about it? All right, Ryan O'Halloran joined the Duval Rundown this morning with Hayes Carlin, and has a piece coming out tomorrow on the Times-Union website, and then in the Sunday paper for those that still get that. And he has some really interesting stats about the offense, the Jaguars offense. So I wanted to go over those with y'all when we return. Keep it right here, Helmets and Heels, 1010 XL 92.5 FM.
The Drill.
Whatever this is, what is this?
What is this?
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Come on, man. This is entertainment.
Weekday mornings on 1010 XL.
Exactly. You know it. I'm with Brett from Cycles of Jacksonville, and when the weather starts to shift a little bit, especially during the fall, you've got some really cool stuff from Honda Off-Road.
We do. It's the favorite time of the year for me. Nice little chill in the air. We've got some side-by-sides. We've got the ATVs. Of course, they're legendary dirt bikes. We've got it all.
And for the hunter?
We've got side-by-sides that work and play.
All right, so make sure you check it out. Showroom wide open for you on Atlantic near Regency. If you want to go off-road and have some fun, check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
helmets and heels.
Bought for you by Green Law Group on 1010XL.
Make Capital Glass and Shower Doors your premier choice for top quality glass solutions. With over 40 years of expertise, their team specializes in commercial and residential projects. From elegant shower doors to modern frameless enclosures, they've got you covered. But that's not all. They also offer glass railing systems, glass wine cabinets, and much more. For unmatched quality and service, choose Capital Glass and Shower Doors. Your vision, their expertise. Visit online at capcoglass.com.
For your chance to win tickets to Chris Stapleton and special guest Alan Stone, June 11th at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, text Chris to the text line built by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010.
It's 2026, and it's time to get your home zero-resified by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. 20% off carpet and upholstery cleaning right now, plus take $100 off air duct cleaning when you mention 1010XL. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com. Mortgage rates have dropped. They're expected to move lower. Home sales momentum is building. So now's the time to get your home ready to maximize your sales price. It's time to call Chad and Sandy, the proven experts to sell your home. Maybe you have concerns about putting your home on the market and getting it sold. Well, let me alleviate those for you. There's a real quick solution. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold or they will buy it. Call 414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. You'll find out for yourself. Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home or mine. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Anthony and Mary in Palmco said, we needed to sell our home to move closer to family, but low cash offers weren't cutting it. Since we'd only bought a year earlier, options felt limited, but not for Chad and Sandy. Call Chad and Sandy today, or log on to chadandsandy.com.
Joe C. here. I tried playing handyman with my sprinklers and French drain. And royally failed. So I called Clearwater Irrigation and Drainage, and John Haney came out personally, just like he'll do for you.
You know it. And for a limited time, my good buddy Joe C's coming too.
Huh?
Ain't that right, Joe?
I gotta go to the game.
Go. Go.
Clearwater Irrigation.
At least do this part.
And drainage too.
ClearwaterJacks.com. Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Urology for common cancers of the prostate, bladder, and kidney. Early detection is key with 5 locations across Northeast Florida. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Hi, Jacksonville. This is Dr. George Bari, an orthopedic surgeon who is fellowship trained in sports medicine by the Dr. James Andrews. Wintertime is upon us, and you may notice you wake up in the morning with some aches and pains in the shoulders and knees. If this happens to you, don't forget, stay mobile to try to reduce stiffness in your joints. And if that doesn't work, come see me at Bari Orthopedics, where we can treat you with cortisone injections and platelet-rich plasma injections and other non-invasive needs. Visit me at BariOrthopedics.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Wednesday afternoon, just cruising through the week as we head into another beautiful weekend. Well, actually, the weather Saturday doesn't look ideal with that cold front coming in.
Yeah.
I say cold front. It's already chilly, but another
with rain
wave.
coming in, that doesn't help.
Exactly.
I like the change of seasons
I don't
in
mind.
Northeast
I love
Florida.
cold.
Yeah,
I
I don't
really
mind.
do.
I do like when it's sunny and cold, though. Once you hit that gray and it's
Right, yeah.
rainy,
Overcast
it makes me
or
think of
rain, no.
Indiana a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it as long as if I'm wearing gloves while walking our dog and my hands are still cold, that's when I'm like, hold on.
This is too much.
I'm a Floridian. This is not supposed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, the steering wheel, when that's cold, then it's cold in Florida.
But
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Doesn't
that's
heat up
without
for
gloves
you.
on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really wear gloves.
Do you drive
in
with your
Florida.
gloves?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I have in the past when it's really, really cold.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
I think nowadays a lot of cars have, not a lot, but some cars have heated steering wheels.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I can barely function in wearing gloves. I don't know why. I just feel like so restricted. Even
You
when
more
I
a
went.
mitten person?
No, I don't like, and that's crazy because also my hands stay cold. So I'm one of the people that probably need gloves. But even when I went up for that game in Chicago this year, I had had one glove on and one off because I
Okay,
was like,
Michael
I can't.
Jackson.
I know. I was like, I can't do anything. Like, you can't use your phone. Like,
Well, they
holding your
have-
beer is like
They do
weird.
have gloves that have the not fingerprints,
But it's still, you have to like fat finger it, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't work as well. And so it's very inconvenient when you're trying to like tailgate and drink and like take pictures and whatever. So the whole time in all the pictures, everyone's like, "Why aren't you wearing gloves?" I was like, "I had one on."
Did you just keep switching? With
I
one
did. I
on?
would switch back and forth.
Yeah, you really just need those pockets the
yeah.
quarterbacks.
I know,
wear,
just
you
stick 'em
know,
in,
and have
warm
a
'em
little
up real
hand
quick.
Hand warms in there. And
All right, so Ryan O'Halloran joined the Duo Rundown this morning, hosted by Hayes Carline. He had some great stats, and they'll all come out. He has both offensive and defensive stats. They really chatted more about the offensive ones today, but they'll all come out online tomorrow at the Florida Times-Union and then in the paper on Sunday. And we'll start with what he terms a bad run per game. How many the Jaguars had was an average of 6.2 bad runs per game. He clarifies a bad run is a play or a run play with only 1 yard gain, no gain, or lost yardage, but a 1 yard touchdown or a 1 yard run that results in a first down is not a bad run play. So basically, if you're only gaining a yard or less, as long as it's not for a touchdown or a first down, that is a bad run per play. So 6.2 bad runs per game. That seems high to me. I don't have the league
That's why I was
average.
like, I wonder what that
I don't have the league average, but that's over 6 times a game where you're only gaining a yard or
less.
fewer. And so I would imagine that's probably partially why they hired Brian Picucci as a new run game coordinator.
You know, there were. It seemed like, especially towards mid to late in the year, there were a couple of runs just up the gut, like almost like just run a play. You know what I mean? Like some teams just feel like it just feels like they're just running a play, run the clock, get the second down or whatever, get the third down or whatever the case may be. The other runs where they weren't effective, a lot of those end of rounds didn't work this year. I think Tootin had a good one earlier in the year. Remember, they used him on one. That was really fast. I think Jacoby had a couple that were okay, but I don't think Parker, you know what I mean? I just don't think it was an effective run, and it seemed like that was.
Yeah.
But it seems like the off-tackle runs, the trap plays seem to be making yardage almost all year long. 6 seems high in terms of how he's describing what a bad run play is. And then you got to break it down like, okay, out of those bad runs, did the lineman get beat? Did the back miss the hole? Did he miss the timing of hitting the hole?
Yeah.
You know, then, I don't even how you factor all that in.
Sometimes it's just a really good defensive play.
Or they make a play, right.
Or how many of those two was it a pass play and Trevor maybe audibled to the run play and it didn't go
anywhere.
according
Yeah,
to
that's
plan?
another one. Yeah.
There's a lot of factors.
Well, and that's what it is interesting because when you go back and you'd have to go back and watch every single game to kind of see where these were happening and what it did feel like the run game worked better in the beginning of the season than it did the end of the season. So I wonder how much that skewed. Maybe that drastic change affected things, but it did feel like in a lot of games where it was like run 1 yard, run no yards, and then you would pass, and then it would be like a long run for 10 yards. And so like maybe those long runs skewed things so much to where you were having a decent amount of bad runs, but because you would break out, a 5-6 plus yard run and get the first down, it would kind of negate what you felt like was going bad. But there were moments where we were kind of putting out frustration in the sense of why aren't they running the ball more? Why was it so even? I can't remember which specific game, but I came in here and I was like, why are you passing 40 times and only running 15 or whatever it was? Maybe coaches were seeing some things like that in the sense of, okay, we're only gaining a yard or 0 yards on these plays and we need some bigger plays to be able to stay in these games. And so some of that factors in, but it does feel like, especially at the end of the year, run game wasn't working unless it was like an explosive run that would get a first down.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So I found some this morning just doing a little work. ETN had 28 rushes of 10 or more yards, ranked number 10 in the league per PFF.
Top 10's good. By the way,
so
it's the
to your
Bengals.
point,
Bengals, yes.
to your point, because it did seem, and I remember a few games that he'd rip off a great run, and they'd be holding or shift or something when we were having a lot of pre-snap stuff. But he also had 46 missed tackles, 14th in the league for ETN Jr. How about that per PFF? So I mean, again, I'd love for him to be here. I don't know. When I look at this team, running back is in a good spot, even if ETN wasn't going to be there. It'd be in a better spot with him without knowing if they add to it, right? We don't know that much if they will or not. But as far as I'm concerned, it's the defense that really needs that extra juice.
Well, I do think the run game could be upgraded to be more consistent, and that's not a knock against ETN. That's a total offense type of thing.
Yeah.
That's Trevor making the right calls. That's the offensive line blocking. That's obviously whoever the running back is hitting the hole properly.
Yeah. And do you need ETN to accomplish that is the question.
Or
not.
Or can you improve upon him? And
Yeah, right.
That's
For
the
sure.
question, obviously, that they're discussing, or they already have their answer and they've decided which way they're going to go. Here's another stat for you when it comes to the run game. On 3rd and 1 to 3 yards, so 3rd and short,
Okay.
the Jaguars converted only 56% of the time. 3rd and 1 to 3 yards, only 56% of the time. So when you're talking about, to me, the one hole in the run game, certainly the screen game wasn't great, but really that 3rd and short, and I don't want to always rely on Trevor to get the 3rd and short. This hasn't been constructed as a tush-push type of team.
Yeah.
That's not how this offensive line is. And so to me, you've got to be able to improve that. Whether that's ETN, Tootin, whoever gets the ball.
What do we know if that compares to others? The 56?
I'm guessing that Ryan probably has more of this information, Ryan O'Halloran, in the piece tomorrow. I don't. Obviously, they were discussing these. This morning,
I'm curious because if it was just 3rd down, you'd be like, 50% or more is fantastic on 3rd down, but 3rd and short, you'd think maybe what, 75, maybe 80. 75.
Yeah, I would.
I mean,
think,
3's
I was
long.
about to say.
1's not.
I was about to.
But
I was going to
3's
guess
long.
like high 60s.
Yeah.
At least is what I would guess. You would feel like is doing good. I don't know what the average would be.
Yeah, sometimes like 4th and 2 seems like, because all it takes is someone to shoot a gap. 3rd and 3, it just takes someone to go and take a chance. It could be a D lineman, a linebacker, whatever, safety, just flying in there and, guessing right that you're going to call a run, and it's the same run they've watched on film that you've done over. You know what I mean? Like, it's just feels like a long way, 3rd and 1, no, that's not.
Just in general, the 3rd down conversion rate for the Jags was at 16th at 39.82%.
39.8. Okay. There's a math equation in there somewhere. You know what I mean? You got the 3rd and short, and then you got overall. There's somewhere to figure out the rest, I would imagine.
And these are the types of stats that are not just easy to look up, which is why I appreciate Ryan O'Halloran doing all this work,
Absolutely.
for sure. All right, so another stat. Parker Washington had 25 explosive catches. That's a gain of 16 or more yards.
Wow.
That was 8 more than any other Jaguars player.
Yeah.
You
He
felt
really
it.
came on.
I mean, it just felt like he felt like one of the players who from start to finish was putting that out. There was others where obviously BTJ with the slow start, you didn't get Jacoby Myers until later. Brenton Strange had injury issues, so Parker felt like the one from the start was kind of giving you the most consistency. So that makes
I'll
sense.
tell you, in comparison to other guys that we're talking about, like if they came out and said, "Hey, we just gave him a brand new car," I'd be like, "Hell yeah. Damn right you pay him. He deserves it. He really, I mean, look.
And he was drafted in the 6th round. So the amount of money he's making on his rookie contract is much lower.
No
than
doubt.
other guys.
And look, every year he's gotten better. I mean, every single year you could tell he put in the work.
And this year
You
he's
just
going to go
tell.
into the offseason with the idea of I'm one of the better receivers on this team.
right.
And Trevor obviously will continue that chemistry.
Yep.
And that to me also changes the play calling. I don't know that the plays were necessarily designed for Parker.
Yeah.
And against the Broncos, obviously he had 44 yards, something close to that. So now yes, he can get the yak. He's a good receiver as far as hands go. He's going to find those holes in the zone. He does it all.
Yeah. I tell you, I was just thinking too, like defensive coordinators this offseason are going to study the crossing routes of the Jaguars because they're short, they're intermediate, they're deep, and they're always open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just brilliancy on that. However you set it up.
Right.
And I mean, I'm thinking of Parker on that one long one where Trevor got hit. Remember, it was at what game was that? Was it the second to last game? Remember, Trevor threw it cross body.
Behind.
Yeah, and he got hit right in front.
Oh, okay.
And then Parker made an unbelievable. Parker came all the way over from the other side on a deep cross. Remember, and he caught it.
Yeah, that was along the left sideline.
Left
It
sideline,
was at
right.
home. Was that?
I don't think that was Buffalo. It
It wasn't Buffalo.
Was it the one before
Which would have
Tennessee?
been Titans.
Yeah, I think it was the Titans. Yeah. But my point is, like, they're going to have to try to figure that out. Those things are tough, especially man or zone, right? And if you don't have pressure at a QB, you're in a lot of trouble.
And that's the cool part about Liam Cohen is when he was hired, you read all these defensive coaches talking about how he's always one step ahead of them, right? And we weren't sure how that was going to play out. And yeah, early in the season, it felt like this team relied so much on the run game that it's like it was a little harder to see Liam's play calling, in the full bag of tricks, so to speak. But now we kind of have gotten to understand, like, it's through his formations that he's tricking the defense, and he may be running a lot of the similar routes. Like, guys are running similar routes, but because he's tricking them and he's one step ahead of them,
he's breaking the tendencies, right? Because you're looking for tendencies, and then he'll throw a wrinkle in the same formation. He just flipped it over to the other side and then ran a different kind of play out of it. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I haven't seen that one before. And then you got to put it into your notes and put it into your study time, and then he'll do it again. But the question, I think what's going to be interesting too, from an X's and O's standpoint, is they'll have all year to study him, and now that's 2 years, right? From Tampa and then here, and then how will they game plan against Liam Cohen? These young guys, these minds, they'll come up with some wrinkles, but overall, they can't have all wrinkles. How are you going to defend the offense of Liam Cohen? It's going to be interesting.
But the cool part is now I bet they can put more plays into that playbook because Trevor understands the offense better than a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
And just mechanically and what he's improved on in there. There was a lot of things on the plate in the beginning of, in the sense of your footwork and your mechanics, and here's a new playbook, and here's receivers that you haven't worked with, and now you kind of have the more comfort in that, so you can open things up a little bit.
New center, we don't even really focus that much because Robert Hainsey was great, and then when Jonah Monaheim had to play, he stepped in admirably. But that whole relationship, they don't even have to develop another relationship, right? Or develop their relationship from scratch.
No, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Another year in, the confidence should be through the roof for every player. Every player that, had the game experience, they should feel fantastic about their game, whoever that remains here, And that'll only help for the offseason. That'll just make everything that much better.
13 wins for the Jags, and for us, best Sports Talk Radio show on Folio Weekly. Where do we go from here, y'all?
That's right. Only up.
All we do is win.
That's right. I've got more stats for y'all, so keep it right here. Locked and loaded. Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels. Backed by Green Law Group on 1010XL. Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care. Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
What racehorse won the Belmont Stakes by 31 lengths? The answer next.
When your homeowner's insurance policy is up for renewal, it's a good idea to shop around to find a better plan. Southern Oak Insurance for over 20 years provides Floridians a clear option. SouthernOak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Secretariat won the Triple Crown in 73, including winning the Belmont by 31 lengths.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%. It's the lowest in years. Hey, gang, Prosser here. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time, or you can keep your primary mortgage intact, get cash out, equity with Loan Pronto's rapid equity loans. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards, some car loans, and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now. See what option works best for you, but don't miss this big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous rapid equity loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks. You may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 904-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com. No hard credit pull. 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers.
Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Underwood has completed 75 years in business, and now you are starting your next 75 years. If you were going to simplify things, what is the single most important thing in Underwood's history, and what will be the most important thing in your future?
Frank, that's simple. Our honesty and integrity. You know, our founder, H.F. Underwood's favorite saying was, know the truth and tell the truth. That's why we're the longest-standing member of the American Gem Society in Florida. Because we know you have to have the knowledge about gemstones before you can tell the truth about them. That's why we continue to educate our staff through the Gemological Institute of America and the American Gem Society. In fact, today, Underwoods has the largest American Gem Society credentialed staff of professionals east of the Mississippi River. So come by and see why we're looking forward to the next 75 years and let one of our experts assist you.
That's at Underwoods, serving excellence since 1928. In San Marco, Avondale, the Shops of Ponte Vedra, Underwood Jewelers.
The First Coast Games is an annual team-building challenge to introduce fun activities into the workplace and focus on your employees' health and wellness goals. These goals include some friendly competition, of course, including pickleball, cornhole, volleyball, flag football, and other team sports. The games will begin in March. Register your company and teams at fcymca.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Baby, you a song, and you make me wanna roll my windows down and cruise.
Mid-50s with the sun out. Yeah, you can roll those windows down. Early this morning and yesterday morning when it was about 20-something, a little more difficult. Yeah,
Did your neighbor have the sprinklers on again?
I did not walk by
Icy
that house this morning, so that's a good question, but they probably did. It's probably just set to a timer, and they just didn't even think about it.
It's fine. Got a little snow in the yard.
A lot of ice.
Like a nice skating rink out there.
Keaton yesterday tried to walk on it, and I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. I didn't want ice in his paws, even though I'm sure he's probably like, oh, this feels so good. I
People
know.
would do that up north. They'd just get 2x4s, make a big rink, flood it with water, and turn to
Let it
ice.
freeze.
Next thing you put a couple goalposts, or whatever, nets in there, and play a little hockey.
I'll make sure to walk by their house in the morning and see if they're dumb or not. All right, some more stats from Ryan O'Halloran as he went through the 2025 season. This one I think most people are fairly aware of. The Jaguars had only 4 drops in the last 9 games of the season, but 24 drops in all 18 games total. So obviously that improved. We know Jacoby Myers, his superpower is catching the football, but I don't feel like you can evaluate the offense from the first half without talking about those drops.
Yeah. Well, look, the drops were real, and I think Trev stopped throwing over the middle like that, into coverage until the wild card game, where that was kind of, odd of him because he hadn't done it, in those 8 games. But a lot of those drops, they, hit him. Right in the hands.
Yeah.
some of them were just
some of them
unbelievable.
hit their
Some
chest.
of them were some were a little tough to catch, but they hit you in the hands. So you gotta.
But when you watch their football games, quarterbacks don't always put it in the right spot, and those guys go up and get it or make the diving catch. Who was it this past weekend in either the AFC or NFC Championship game that had the one-handed catch? Was it Jason? Had the one-handed catch and just made it look so easy, and I was like, that did not happen in the first half of the season.
There was even a JSN though in that game where he had to twist his body backwards, like Sam threw it behind him and he dropped it. So it's even the best of the best receivers when it's balls like that, sometimes if they're not placed right. And we talked a lot about the timing and how much was timing between Trevor and the receivers, because it just felt like everything was a second early or a second late, and I think that kind of everything, the speed up in general and his comfortability in the offense helped with a lot of that. And they weren't all on Trevor. They weren't all on the wide receivers, but there was a massive problem where, and it had been years of it. That's another part of the problem, was 3 years where the Jags led in drops. And so everyone started wondering, what is this? Is it Trevor? Is it we're cursed? Like, we don't know what's happening. And then things got kind of figured out. Jacoby came here, and the timing of the offense felt like it was clicking, and those drops almost disappeared.
Jacoby needs to be a wide receivers coach whenever he's done playing in the NFL.
Yeah, and again, the timing was better. We saw that. I mean, Trevor got a lot better with throwing that ball to a point, to a spot, instead of waiting for the player to get open and that kind of thing. I mean, look, like anything else, probably in the middle, the 24, maybe 12, maybe 15 are just flat out drops, and the others maybe just miscommune or bad timing or bad placement. I mean, you take that second example of Jackson Smith, whose fault is that? It's a drop. Is it bad throw, or is he expected to catch that, even though it's in the wrong, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know the answer. I mean, you look at me funny. I'm asking you the question. Like, what do you think?
How would you
say that?
say is Ryan O'Halloran's probably not going to count it as a drop, according to, he always says his pencil. According to him, he's probably not going to count it as a drop if Trevor puts it in the bad spot, is how I would answer that. Whether ESPN, how they're counting
I meant in general,
it
not just Ryan. I'm sorry, I should have clarified.
And that's why when you go to different sites, the drop numbers are different on every single site, because different people calculate. Some people may say, well, JSN still hit his hands, so you still catch it, and some people are like, no, because the quarterback threw it completely behind him. He had to stop his run and turn and twist his body.
Hips,
the momentum of route, and then you got to turn around. That's hard to make the adjustment.
I think the other part of it with the drops, but the offense overall and penalties are in this, but the play clock was getting so low, right? And until the wristband appeared, that I think Trevor getting the play call is super long. Then that takes a while for him to then repeat it. First, he has to remember which one that is, and then repeat it. And he has two different ones, and then at that point in time, maybe not everyone on the offense is on the same page, and so you put all that in, and then
everything's
all of a sudden,
rushed.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get to the line, and you
got 1 second, got to snap the ball, go. Yeah.
And you don't have the way it was towards the latter half, obviously, with the smooth passing game. So that to me is one of the things that I expect to change right away in 2026.
And then adding to that, the amount of times that you're behind the sticks right away because of illegal formation or a false start or whatever the case. We saw so many of those in that first half too. So you're going backwards. You're having to rush the play because you're trying to get it in and do all of these things. And so I do feel like, and it felt clunky. There were moments in the games where you're like, it felt like not everything or everybody was on the same page. And that definitely started to get kind of ironed out throughout the season.
And I've said before, like, I don't mind the offensive line penalties of whether it's holding or whether it's something along those lines, like illegal contact, things like that. Like, or illegal hands to the face, like that means that an offensive lineman is trying really hard to block that defender, and they're having
keep
a
him
hard
away
time
from the
with
QB.
it. Yeah. Now the false starts, obviously, and then those illegal motions and shifts. Like the Jaguars offensive linemen are going to have penalties called against them in 2026. I would prefer, though, the pre-snap penalties not be pretty much eliminated.
Well, a lot of those false starts from the tackles are because they're trying to kick back before the snap, or just time it right, and then they move too early because that D end's going around them. Listen, you got to hold so your quarterback don't get killed. But if you hold too much, it just means you're getting beat time after time again. And you can't have that. So I do think all of that, what you guys said, were the very valid points in terms of, you think about it from a logical standpoint. If everything's rushed, how do I read, in a comfortable manner, as opposed to, wait, I still got 10 seconds before the ball snapped. I can see everything. I can survey anything. I have an idea where I'm going with the foot. All that matters, right? And that's what you saw a difference in pre-snap for Trevor in the offense when he threw the ball before the break. That was another timing thing that he got better at. So you'd expect all that to be balled up and go into this year and see a lot of that. A lot of good positive stuff out of that.
When XL Primetime takes too long to get out of the studio, we are rushed to get in here and do our show. And
trying to get my headphones plugged in.
We blame them. All right, one more stat for you here. 6 offensive linemen had at least 632 snaps played this past season, and all 6 of those, at least as of now, are back for this team. And so I think the total snaps for this team was a little over 1,100. So that's a good percentage of the snaps. Yes, we saw little injuries here and there. Thankfully, no catastrophic injuries to any of the offensive linemen this past season. But that continuity, in addition to the coaching staff continuity, The offensive line continuity is huge. We'll see, yes, what it looks like, who the starting five, how different that looks in comparison to this past season. But as far as overall, you shouldn't expect it to take too much time for them to gel.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's so key, right? There's some of the best offensive lines year after year, the ones that, have stuck together for at least a year or two. And then it becomes emotional too. You play for your brother, like it becomes like a rumble almost, you're going out there to, kick someone else's ass, and you're going to do it together, and you're going to do it as a unit. And that's a real powerful thing, and I'll tell you one thing we saw from our O-line pretty much from the get-go, that they were going to be scrappy. They were going to get after it. They weren't always the biggest, but they always matched the physicality. And in years past, you couldn't say that. You couldn't. You'd be like, they're getting beat up front. They're getting out-muscled. They're getting punched in the face. They're not punching back. But not with this team. And that was something I think that they started with early. I think that was something Liam, all of them, Tony, the whole group was just like, look, we're going to have an offensive line that's mean and nasty on the field. Off the field, they're going to be nice and nice people off the field. But on the field, they're going to be mean. They're going to be nasty. They're going to know what they're doing. We're not going to have these, mental errors, mental issues, that type of thing. So I think they showed that. I think they'll even be better, when they figure out how that starting five's going to go. And, again, we got to figure out, the health of them. You got a back with McCary. You got a knee with CVL. You got to make sure those guys are good and healthy. And, do you add to the group? You probably add a little bit. But it's not like it's a need. I mean, I don't want to sit there and say, just roll back with the 5, but, you could roll back with 6 or 7 of them and figure out that combination. You feel good about that. And I tell you, I'll say it right here. I'm not going to get excited if they're getting beat in camp. I'm just not. Whatever. It doesn't mean anything. They're getting beat, but it doesn't mean anything because once that regular season started, they came to play. Even from the get-go, think about that Carolina game. They played really well as an offensive line. That was when the running game was really rocking. And there were still some issues with, the offense and pre-snap and stuff like that, but that O-line came to play, and they did it pretty much year-round.
They upgraded the interior of the offensive line greatly. And I understand that Ezra Cleveland was here, but I think he looked much improved with, obviously, Robert Haynes and with Patrick McCary next to him.
And I thought Ezra, prior to last year, was playing pretty well. You know what I mean? Not this past season, the year before. Like, he was the one guy that kind of stood out, being physical, knocking guys on their butt and that type of thing. And then I think when Hainsey got in here, who's kind of a, he's that kind of a guy, roughneck type guy in the field, getting after it, that becomes contagious. I think you saw it out of Walker. Walker had some of it, that physicality. So, and then you want to keep up. You want to be like, hey, man, if they're going to be physical and the coach likes that and the team likes that, then I get up my game and make sure I'm physical too.
Yeah. Liam said he wanted savages. That's
right.
Yeah, that's right.
And the offensive line is the heartbeat, I think, of a team, especially when it comes to physicality. All right, more to do on the other side. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Reflecting the passion of Jags fans. This is 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Helmets and Heels from the Greenlaw Group Studios.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 28, 2001, the Baltimore Ravens defeat the New York Giants by a final score of 34-7 in the Super Bowl. Ray Lewis would be named the game's most valuable player.
Basketball is back as Division I college basketball takes center stage with the UNF Ospreys. Osprey basketball returns home to CSI Company's court at UNF Arena this Thursday, January 29th against the Hatters from Stetson. So make your plans to see the Ospreys in action at UNF Arena on Thursday, January 29th against Stetson. Tip-off at 7. Visit unfospreys.com/buy tickets now to secure your seats. unfospreys.com/buy tickets now. Swoop!
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is RJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here. Have you been thinking about selling your home and you haven't pulled the trigger? Let me tell you about Chad and Sandy and the experts that will help you make that decision. Mortgage rates have dropped. They're expected to move lower. Home sales momentum is building, so now's the time to get your home ready to maximize your sales price. It's time to call Chad and Sandy, the proven experts to sell your home. Need to sell now, need to sell fast, need max price. Check, check, check. Chad and Sandy have the science behind it. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Jonathan writes from Mount Pleasant. The only thing standing between me and my dream of hitting the road in my RV was selling my Mount Pleasant home. After hearing Chad and Sandy on the radio, I gave them a call. The results were unreal. In just 3 days, I had multiple offers at full asking price. So can you. Call the local experts I trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy, 414-6200 or chadandsandy.com.
If you're listening to 1010 and you're a parent, chances are your kids are playing sports. Check out i9sports.com with spring and summer registration open right now. In the gym or on the field, and now at Tocoi Creek High School and Westside Middle. Check it out, i9sports.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. RJ, important basketball game tonight. How you feeling?
Not important, but I mean, yeah, no. I mean, we'll suit up tonight, see how it goes, and yeah, no, hoping for a win. So let's see what
What
happens.
time's tip off?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Now, will you
All right.
flex? Like, if you get important rebounds, will you flex on a guy or no?
No, like rebounds. No, I try my best to stay quiet. The only time I start talking is when people talk to me. I try my best just to stay quiet.
Okay. What kind of offensive game do you have? Are you a penetrator? Are you outside shooter? What do you got? You got both?
I mean, I'd like
15 and in. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking I can do a little bit of both. I mean, but growing up, I mean, I was always inside.
Yeah.
So, I've always tried to develop my post game. So, but if you do want to place me on a semi-island, I think I can hold my own from the outside.
Cool. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Stretch those Achilles out. Really good.
I really need to.
Yeah, you got to for sure.
Yeah.
There's
There's
like
a lot
your
of
hat
stuff
too,
to do.
RJ.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
FSCJ.
I don't move on instinct unless I have to anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not covering nobody on no basketball court these days. I'm just not doing it.
I don't think
I
you're
don't
going to be
hurt.
asked to.
No, ever. I hope not ever. I can play horse and pig and those kind of games.
Horse
You
and
shoot
pig.
around the world.
Oh, yeah.
Those are fun
but
games.
No, yeah. None
If
of
you
this.
shoot well. Not
Yeah.
if you
Yeah, you
don't
got to be able to shoot.
well.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
never a good shooter.
Ah.
All right. One more stat, by the way, for you. In 2024, the Jaguars they were 26th in the NFL in points per game. Last year, they were 6th in points per game. So if you want to talk about
Offensively.
offensively,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about how improved they were.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so I do feel like as we look ahead to 2026, when it comes to, we went through D-Rock's offseason storylines, we have to give ours. To me, the number one question is, what does Trevor Lawrence do in year 2 under Liam Cohen? Like that to me is this team will go as far as Trevor Lawrence goes, right? We can talk all about we need to add pass rush, and that's certainly a big storyline.
Yeah.
But the Jaguars would have beaten the Bills if Trevor Lawrence played a little bit better. I'm not saying the defense was at fault. I came in that Monday and said the defense lost the game.
Yeah.
But if Trevor Lawrence played the way that Josh Allen played that day, if he didn't throw 2 interceptions, the Jaguars could have beaten
and
the Bills.
Almost 4 others.
Right. Like, and that to me is going to be for me, the biggest offseason storyline is going to be, what does Trevor Lawrence look like year 2 under Liam Cohen?
And just in his defense for that game, if you think about it, the missed field goal was 3 points.
Not going
was 3, and then Trevor's interception led to 3.
Yeah.
So he played a part in that, but there are others that, they only lost by 3.
Right. But if he doesn't throw the second interception, and I understand it was about a minute with no timeouts at the end of the game.
Yeah.
If he drives them down, they score the touchdown, then we're not having the conversation of did Trevor cost them and things like that.
Yeah. But he should have never been in that position if the defense played better.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to guess one of your big off-season storylines is going to be, how do they address the interior pass rush and add to the edge?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll do that one. Why not? Why not? I had another one in mind, but that's okay.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. No, I mean, look, would I love to see a defensive tackle tandem like the New England Patriots bring to the table right now? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys were ranked like very high in getting after the quarterback, not just stopping the run. Barmore and Milton, just big, athletic, kind of guys. Yeah, I'd like that. And I think our edge rushers would like that too. I don't want to replace D. Ham. I think D. Ham had a great year, and he deserves to be your nose tackle. I'm not going to say he's best in the biz like his friends say, but that's okay. He had a really good year, and I was happy to see.
He's a big contributor to the number 1 run defense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt. And then we just need the other side of it. You got to collapse that pocket. You can't just do it from the outside. It's got to come from the interior. And if they fix that, if they make that better, let's just say 50% better, they're going to be that much better of a closing defense, right? How do you close games out? On offense, we know how, right? You run the ball, you run the clock, you get first downs.
Yeah.
On defense, you shut them down. You get after the QB. You don't let them convert on third down. Too many third down conversions when the game's on the line. You know what I mean? So if they can do that, and keeping Campanile back, I mean, this defense could be monstrous.
Sure. Yeah, I think the defensive line we've talked about for so many years now of needing to be improved. So I don't want them to be like, we're good, obviously. I think that interior defensive line, it's clear you aren't getting enough pressure. There's nothing coming up the middle in that way. Run game, that's great. But I think that the important part to your point when it comes to just like the interior and getting those pressures, how much that helps the secondary, how many situations change this season if you were getting that interior pass rush, and how much does that open for Trayvon and Josh Hines-Allen? And there's so many things that kind of start to trickle down when you get that. So I want to see that greatly improved. Now, what the answer is to that, I don't know. Maybe they think they have the personnel right there that can make it happen. When it comes to Eric Armstead being injured, we saw kind of once he got hurt, things kind of fell apart a little bit for him. So maybe in their heads, they're like, okay, well, healthy Eric Armstead, enough. But you also don't feel like you have much behind that. And that's where I think you've got to address it.
No, you're right. I mean, look, against the run, Eric played well. I mean, and that club definitely hurt him in the pass rushing ability. But can you take the risk again by just going in with him as your guy?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't think so either. You need someone to help him out, rotate in there, make a difference. I'm not saying totally replace him. If you did, you did. But you need to add it.
If he hadn't gotten hurt, he started with, 5.5 sacks? So
yeah, who knows?
How many more does he get? And then teams around the league are going, man, if only we had an Eric Armstead on this team, we would have gotten that interior pass rush.
Well, and then that's another. I remember when he got here, a lot of people were saying he had a lot of injuries before he came to Jacksonville, and that was part of the conversation. Is this is a guy that, for a lot of his career, has missed several games each year, and then now we saw it again this year. So you have that conversation, because what happens if Eric Armstead gets hurt again? You can't just be like, well, we would be good if he was out there. You have to have a backup solution for that, number one, if it's been a career problem.
And remember, he wasn't available in camp at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much Liam's going to like that moving forward.
Right.
You know?
And his counterpart, Mason Smith, also not available during camp. And then by the time he was healthy, we obviously saw towards the end of the season he was inactive. And so that to me kind of goes to show us their evaluation of Mason.
Yeah.
Maybe they feel differently than that. And the only reason he was inactive is because he just was never able to fully get involved. But to me, the guys that were inactive down the stretch, like an Emmanuel Ogba, De'Ami Brown, certainly Mason Smith, that speaks to me like, okay, we're deciding to go in a different direction moving forward. All right, we'll continue the Jaguars offseason storyline, so keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
Get the goods on Gainesville 24/7. Search 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Helmets and Heels.
Protected by
Green Law Group. For the insured. Fighting for you.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. People ask, are your solutions for thinning hair permanent? Yes, our solutions have permanent natural results and are guaranteed to work. Put our 35 years of experience helping 10,000 plus men and women to work for your thinning hair. Our trademark hair transplant procedures will give you 3 times more hair in one procedure. PRP and laser treatments are fast, easy, and effective, and only take 30 minutes. Most of our staff have experienced hair loss ourselves. Our caring and confidential team can help you look better and feel better about yourself and restoring your hair again.
For your confidential consultation, call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or go to hairforme.com. That's hairforme.com. For your chance to win tickets to Chris Stapleton and special guest Alan Stone, June 11th at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, text Chris to the text line built by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010.
Hey, poker fans, it's a new year, and a new tournament series is coming to Best Bet Jacksonville. The 2026 Best Bet Blizzard on the Beach Poker Series runs from February 5th through the 16th. The event features 10 tournaments, $600,000 in guarantees, live-streamed events on Best Bet Live, and the $1,700 Mystery Bounty main event. Win your way in with satellites starting this month. Get all the details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $4,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Next time you head into a Gate convenience store, look for Form Energy Drink, designed to provide energy, hydration, and focus, straight from Dana White and AB, celebrating those who embrace grit, discipline, and resilience in their everyday lives. Check out Form Energy at a Gate convenience store.
We've all been there. You hear about an incredible event Monday morning, but it happens Sunday. Stop missing out. Jacksonville is the flip side of Florida, and we have the solution. From under-the-radar sporting events to the perfect family outing or date night, Visit Jacksonville is your all-access pass to the city. Plan your 2026 season at visitjacksonville.com/locals. Visitjacksonville.com/locals. Or download the Visit Jax app for the full lineup. See what you've been missing.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Kuhn Flowers. The Jags will be retaining both of their coordinators for the 2026 season following the Buffalo Bills hiring Joe Brady as head coach. Grant Udinski will return as offensive coordinator, while defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile has withdrawn his name from the head coaching pool to run it back in Duval. It's 55 degrees at 3:03. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. All right, Taylor, give me one of your 2026 Jaguars off-season storylines.
Yeah, so I feel like so many broad storylines that I know we're going to talk about a ton, and we mentioned one of them yesterday when it comes to Travis Hunter. That's going to be, in my opinion, probably one of the bigger ones of that. How do they approach this season? What do they want to see? And I know we heard recently about more defense, less offense, but still, how do they address it in camp? But I want to go to just in general when it comes to the combine. So much of the conversation was where James Gladstone, the Rams didn't attend the combine, and so they kind of addressed things differently. They did the more one-on-one type of meetings, and they scouted on their own, and they had all the guys to do that rather than the combine, and making that more broad when it comes to the draft. You don't have a first-round draft pick, so I think one of the biggest storylines is going to be how they handle this offseason when it comes to the combine, when it comes to free agency, and when it comes to do they want to try and be bold and package some picks and do something to get up into the first round, or are they comfortable having just that second-round pick? We've seen Gladstone. He's aggressive. We already know after trading up for Travis Hunter, but he comes from a world that's really aggressive in the draft in both sides. Sometimes it was giving away all their picks and trying to figure it out that way, and sometimes it was trading for a big player like Matthew Stafford. And so you've seen both sides of it. So I think that's going to be such a huge thing, at least from now until the draft, of how they approach this, and how many rumors are we hearing of Gladstone's really trying to get into the first, or they are trying to, BTJ, people are calling for BTJ and they could get a first for him. Those conversations I think are going to be one of the bigger, at least for the next few months.
Yeah. Do they go to the combine?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a question that I have.
Yeah.
I kind of get not going to the combine to a certain degree. I mean, look, I'm no aficionado, but when I watch the combine, I want to see the individual drills. I watch the 40 just because it's fun to watch the fast guys run, but when they're doing all the change of direction over the bags, back and forth, running routes, covering routes, all that kind of stuff. That to me shows the athletic ability of that. And can you do that just by visits? You can. You get them out on your turf and you run a little, workout for them like we did out here in the parking lot for you too. And you evaluate how they're moving.
The video was deleted, by the way.
And that kind of thing. But I don't know. A lot of times when you're up there, you're networking, right? You're making deals. You're trying to figure stuff out. So we'll see if they make it. Not having a first round, I get it. It gets me thinking like, okay, if we want to get into the first round, Brian Thomas is a candidate, you'd think. Is Trayvon a candidate? I don't think Trayvon would get you a one, but him packaged with something to get you into the first round. If it got you something in return. I know what they said about Trayvon, so it doesn't sound like he'd go anywhere. Right. And I don't really want him to go anywhere. But it's going to cost you to get up to the first round if that's, in fact, part of the strategy. And is there somebody in that first round
that you feel like you absolutely have to
that
have?
You gotta have.
And positional value.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you look, again, health, you hope that Travis Hunter comes back 110%, like fine.
100% would work.
Okay, whatever. But you don't know that to be true yet. You hope for the best.
We don't know the severity of the injury. All we know is it was a season-ending knee injury. We don't know which ligaments, if there were multiple. We don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I would assume he's off crutches. During the year we saw him on crutches, so that was a little shocking to see him still on crutches.
Yeah,
but that's all right.
We saw him dancing in a video at one of the games. I want to say, maybe the Broncos.
But
game.
hopefully he's good. Hopefully Cole's good. McCary's back's fine. You know, but that's
Hopefully Caleb Bransaw's fully recovered.
Yeah,
Jordan
absolutely.
Lewis with the foot injury fully recovered. Yeah.
But even with Brian Thomas, like, would you? I want to see him another year here. I would not want them to give up on him, and even if it got him into the first round, I'll take a third-year Brian Thomas over a rookie if they're going to bring a wide receiver, which I don't think they would do that. You know what I mean? I want to see him with Trevor again. I want to see the deep ball. If there is a critique in the passing offense, it wasn't consistent enough. And I'm not talking they didn't throw the ball down the field, because Trevor's yards per attempt went up quite a bit. But I'm talking the deep ones, and there's too many misses in the deep throws this year.
Do you talk to Trevor Lawrence and ask him, hey, let me hear your evaluation of your receivers, your pass catchers, and I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence is going to say trade
Like
Brian
he
Thomas
sucks.
Jr. Right, but is that part of the conversation of let's figure out why you work so well with Jacoby right away, why you work so well with Parker Washington season in and season out, and why it didn't
Where these
go
misses
great.
were.
Yeah.
Look, I think I said it earlier in the week. I think for me with Brian Thomas, I think he just, and I don't know what went on last year. You know, I have no idea if anything happened to him personally that was affecting him or whatnot. But his sense of urgency needs to be more. You know, now granted, he blocked fine. You know, he did. He was blocking downfield. He was doing his job in that regard. It just seems sometimes his routes are slow, and he's not slow. But he starts off slow, it seems. Maybe he needs to get, when you think of Jacoby Myers, you think professional. Gonna run the right route at the right distance, cut at the right time, gonna catch more than not, because he's a professional.
Route runner.
He's more, listen, he's been in the league longer. He should be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but would they use Brian Thomas to address other needs on their team? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they stick with Brian Thomas, and I hope they do, because I think he can be that special wide receiver. And maybe not that, true X. True X's go over the middle. They turn slants into touchdowns. You know what I mean? They take those digs and turn it up the corner, and they're gone. You know what I mean? So I don't know if he'll be that, but working the outside game and the deep game for him, I think he could be a really, really good player for us.
And imagine if he does put it all together, everything that we've seen from him, and he adds to that the going across the middle. You don't give up your first. I mean, you don't try and give him up for a first round pick of another player that's just going to be a role player.
And I wonder too how much coming into this season it was like BTJ, 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 BTJ. You have to be everything of the offense. Like you've got to do this, this, and this. And I wonder how much, because the year before it wasn't. You weren't quite sure you wanted him to, and there was a lot of conversation of it might take several weeks for him to really mesh into this offense and find a role. And he did so much better in that without having to be like the guy. So the approach this offseason of not having that pressure of having to be like, hey, if you aren't doing A, B, and C, then this offense is going to work, because now you are comfortable in having Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers and Britton Strange in the offense and running the ball and doing some of these other things. And I wonder how much that helps, because it does feel like even once Jacoby came and the pressure felt like it was starting to get taken away, you started seeing him progress and get more comfortable and not feel like, and not saying he's like scared or any of those things, just in the sense of the way you plan an offense and not having to plan it around one person. And now you have multiple people that you can do things with.
Yeah. And look, I think also, when Liam said it runs through Brian Thomas, and then Travis got here, and Travis got all the attention.
All the attention, yeah.
I don't know if that affected him or not. There was something going on with Brian Thomas in camp. We all saw that. He was frustrated a few times out there, and you're like, "What's going on? This just doesn't seem right." So something was off. But look, again, I think he brings a lot to the table. He can get down the field. He's a willing blocker, so that's one thing you can't deny with him. If he wasn't trying downfield, then they'd be like, "We got to get rid of him. He's just not our guy." We expect our receivers to block hard down the field all the time, every single run and play, and he does that. He'll do that, and all of them do it. And if they didn't, there would be issues. You probably wouldn't be on this team for very long. But he's got too much upside still.
I agree with you.
To let it go.
I certainly wouldn't. I do wonder, now that I think back about the timing, Travis Hunter got hurt right before the Raiders game, and then Brian Thomas Jr. had a much better second half of the season. So, and I'm not saying those two are directly correlated. It's just, it is interesting when you think about the offense and what was expected of Travis Hunter, what was expected of BT, and just how it really, to me, has nothing to do with the two of them. It's just the timing of it ended up correlating.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I mean, look, you get frustrated when you're dropping the football. And he was in camp. You know, there were drops. I mean, it wasn't like every single time, but you're like, oh, that's weird. You know, he normally drop that.
Yeah. He wasn't winning some of the contested stuff he usually did in camp. And I remember that was sticking out to me because I'm like, he's a big guy. Like, he's usually winning these battles, and he wasn't.
We attributed it to Jordan Lewis, though, because he was new and he was all around the football. But, we saw Brian Thomas Jr., when things didn't go his way in camp, act out that frustration. And that, to me, was obviously the biggest surprise because a lot of times plays don't go your way. It's training camp. The defense has a step on you. We're going to talk about that this training camp, I guarantee.
A lot.
The defense looks a little better than the offense. Here we go again.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and keep in mind, he's a young dude, too. You know, we give other players that, you know, hey, he's a young guy, you know, give him a little bit of a breathing room. Well, Brian Thomas is young as well. So.
I want him on the team, and I'd be surprised if Trayvon Walker is on the trade block. That would just because, again, I think they're honest with us. Yeah.
I wouldn't want it either. But if you're going to get up the first round, somebody's got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not just magically
Walker
making
Little.
We'll give you Walker.
We're not magically making that happen.
He can be someone else's left tackle, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he's on the team. All right, I want to get it to Bill Belichick on the other side. By now, most of you know he was not elected, or at least a nominee for the first ballot Hall of Fame. We will discuss that. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010X on 92.5 FM.
We could have picked any city, but we like it here.
That's all that matters to me.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Happy New Year, sports fans. Hicken here, and let's keep the skincare talk going while we ring in the new year. You know it's winter, a little cold outside. That sun is still shining, so let's always be reminded to take care of our skin. Beaches Dermatology now has a new location open in Fernandina. So if you live just a little north of Duval, you can now see the pros at Beaches Dermatology without having to make the drive to Jax. Go online to beachesdermatology.com to book your skincare appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
A new year is the perfect time to finally get organized. Lauren Brooks here, and I love our friends from Closets by Design and the 3 closets that they designed for us. They create custom storage systems designed around how you actually live, from closets and garages to home offices, entertainment centers, laundry rooms, and more. Beautiful functional storage for any space, lifestyle, and budget. Start the new year strong with 40% off, plus an extra 15% off, free installation, and 18-month special financing. Schedule your free in-home consultation today. Call 904-878-9393 or find them online, closetsbydesign.com.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Fought for you by Green Law Group on 1010XL.
Are you searching for a career in the HVAC industry? Florida Home AC is looking for an A-team. Full-time positions for qualified individuals to train for HVAC service technicians, install mechanics, and sales consultants. Just log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and click on careers to find out more. We're talking great compensation, a 5-day work week, no downtime in the off-season, and a company-provided vehicle. Check it all out at FloridaHomeAC.com/career. That's FloridaHomeAC.com/career. Equal opportunity employer.
The tape doesn't lie, and neither does he. Jeff Lockeman breaks down the film and shares his insights with you Tuesdays during football season on Jaguars Today. Check the Tape Tuesday. Checked by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jax. Thank you for trusting us for 55 years of custom welding fabrication and vehicle towing accessories. When you need a trailer hitch for the family car, a gooseneck for the company truck, or even RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We can do a bumper hitch, fifth wheel hitch, anything for safe, reliable towing. Come to Cannons of Jax, where service is our #1 priority and we treat our customers as we like to be treated. Check us out online, cannonsofjax.com.
This is the home of the Florida Gators. Get your Gators hoops on 1010XL. Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah, Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, and Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
Everybody, Mike Dempsey here, and the cooler weather is upon us. Folks, it's the perfect time to try the new breakfast sandwich from Dandy Foods. A hearty one, too, a twin-pack
cinnamon swirl, and country sausage. You get the sweet first, then the salty kicks in, and trust me, they are addicting. And you'll find them all at daily stores around town. So the next time you're out and about, stop and get all that deliciousness in less than a minute from Dandy. Just one more reason to go out and make yours a dandy, and do it today.
Hey, it's Brent with Arcosa Crushed Concrete. If you've got concrete or asphalt rubble on your site, let me buy it from you, and I will recycle it into construction material for your future projects. Arcosa Crushed Concrete. Get paid for what you don't need.
Hey, Hickett here. The big game is almost here. There's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code 1010XL. $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code 1010XL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Some of the Hall of Fame voters might need to watch every step they take based off of the fact that we found out yesterday that in voting earlier this month, Bill Belichick fell short of the 40 out of 50 votes that he needed for enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a first balloter. As we know, he won 6 Super Bowls as the head coach. He has 333 career wins, 31 playoff wins. That's the most by a head coach in NFL history. But we also know he was involved in a couple different scandals, both Spygate and Deflategate. So some people believe that the reason that 11 or more people that did not vote him in decided they wanted to punish him because of those scandals. Some people are punishing him. This is all speculation, obviously, because maybe
he's dating a 24-year-old.
Maybe because he's dating, I don't think that would come into it, but because he wasn't as good of a head coach without Tom Brady at quarterback. So the reason he was a great head coach is because of Tom Brady. And then to me, I think it's also a personality thing because he's surly. And I think some of the voters, he's prickly. And I think some of the voters probably take some of that into account. He will get into the Hall of Fame probably next year, but he's not a first balloter. But honestly, the first moment that I read that news information yesterday, I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, I could see the questioning of the Spygate, Deflategate.
Mm-hmm.
They should have had the Lightgate back in '96, but he wasn't there. He was defensive coordinator. As far as him being grim or glum, whatever, you gotta take that out. I think, as far as the personal stuff. I mean, they do it for other players. You got to do it, I would think, for Bill. I mean, he's second only Don Shula in the win category in the history of the National Football League.
And 3 coaches were first ballot as far as being voted. That Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, and then Shula.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. And I saw what Brady said. He's like, look, if he ain't first ballot, then no one is.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever have first ballot again. There shouldn't be. Make everybody wait.
He won't be like that when it comes to himself, though.
No.
Well, and that's what's going to be interesting because if the reason is Spygate and Deflategate, Brady was Deflategate. Bill Belichick wasn't Deflategate.
Yeah.
And so then you have to have that conversation. If you don't want to have that conversation, then you're just making excuses at this point. And I feel like, I wonder how much we had this conversation during the era of Brady and Belichick of, okay, how much was Brady and how much was Belichick? And then Brady goes and wins a Super Bowl somewhere else, and Belichick, everything kind of falls apart when Tom Brady's not there. I wonder how much that trickled in with some people, and then they're holding some of these other more petty things against him in that sense. But I saw Jimmy Johnson tweeted, because when they were talking about the Spygate thing, and he quote tweeted, and it was like, if they're using the excuse of Spygate, that's ridiculous. Many teams, including ourselves, tried it. Howard Mudd at Kansas City, who later coached for Bill Polian, who we obviously know is a big part of this right now, and Tony Dungy gave us the idea. He was the best. We didn't get anything and stopped, but many teams gave it a try. So he's defending in the sense of like everybody was doing it. So if you're holding this with all of the other accolades that Bill Belichick has, then you have an issue. Number one, you also have an issue when it's time to talk about Gronkowski and Tom Brady.
Right. Well, you can take one of those Super Bowls away if you want to for Spygate.
Yeah.
He still has 5 plus 2 as an assistant coach.
A DC,
and the Patriots, Tom, won
a playoff game with the Browns, which is very hard to do, by the way.
When Tom Brady was early in his career and they won those Super Bowls, it was thanks to the defense. Brady wasn't lighting it up.
No, and we all know you need a quarterback in this league. So whether it's Tom Brady or just another really good quarterback,
Patrick Mahomes.
yeah, whoever it may be, Matthew Stafford, name him. You know, Tom went to Tampa, who was set up pretty nice, and they needed a QB, and he's one of the best, and it fit perfectly, and that was great. But we all know you need a QB in this league. As far as Spygate, you still got to line up for the guy across from me and beat him.
Yeah.
You know, you can know the play. I can know every single play. That doesn't mean you're not going to block me. You know what I mean? Look at Luke Kuechly. He would call out plays. Like, did he, he knew all the plays. And he was still a great player, but they didn't, when they were ripping through the National Football League, winning a bunch of football games over, a long period of time. So, I don't know, man. Look, at the end of the day, football comes down to just beating the guy in front of you, even with all the scheme and all the, play calling and all the complexities of defenses and offenses. At the end of the day, you got to win those battles, because if you don't win. I don't care who's your quarterback. I don't care who your coach is. So, no, look, he should be first ballot. I don't really care either way. Whatever. But he should be. If there's a coach that should be first ballot, look at all the rings on his fingers. Come on. All he's got to do is take a picture of both hands.
And none of those are yet a marriage, wedding ring with Jordan.
And for the record, I've met Bill Polian a bunch. He's a really nice guy. He comes down to the J Fund, or did for a long period of time. He's a very nice guy, but he's got some kind of beef. He said he couldn't remember if he voted for him or not. That's a bunch of hogwash. Give me a break. You don't remember if you voted for Bill Belichick to be in the Hall of Fame or not. Oh, there's so much else going on. I couldn't remember that. Whatever, Bill. I don't buy that at all. And it feels like there's a beef. Remember, they had a big rivalry back in the day between Peyton and
that's a big
Tom.
conversation.
When you have a rivalry, that means there's respect. So that's when you 100% should vote for him. By the way, Shireen Williams, who's a Hall of Fame voter, will join us tomorrow at 10:15.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks to RJ for setting that up. And so we've chatted with her before, and it will be very interesting to chat with her about how things went this year.
Yeah, and it is when it also over 10 people didn't vote for him.
Right.
And it's not like he missed it by one. And if it was like this one guy who was the Colts guy and was a little petty and wanted to whatever, but over that, I don't know. It said he didn't get the 40, so that's at least 10.
11
at least
or
the
more.
11. Yeah.
But yeah, we don't know exactly who, and nor will we, I'm sure. Ever.
Which we should. We should be able to see who's due. I think they need to be held accountable for their votes. If you're going to vote this, then you should be able to give us some reasons.
Well, and here's look from talking to Sammy Kavaris over the years, right? They get up and they state their case.
Yeah.
Well, then other people get up and state the case for somebody else and state why you shouldn't be. So I guarantee you plenty, maybe it was Bill, maybe it was anybody that got up and said, hey, let's not forget, Spygate was a big deal. They got fined $500,000 for that, I think, and lost whatever, whether it was done rampantly or not. We caught them, And then Deflategate, nobody's really talking about that too much. I don't know. They make it sound like Tom was throwing a Nerf.
I know.
It was just so deflated. It was so easy to throw and catch the football.
In 2007, for Spygate, fined $500,000. That was the largest fine levied against an NFL coach at that point. And then the Patriots also lost a first-round pick in the 2008 NFL draft.
Yep.
And then in 2015, the Patriots were fined $1 million for Deflategate. And they also forfeited a 2016 first-round pick and 2017 fourth-round pick, and Brady was suspended for 4 games. So fairly heavy. But look, we have the conversation so much in baseball with the cheating. Don't even let them in the Hall of Fame. And that's with PEDs, obviously, a different way.
I didn't
or
agree
gambling.
with that, by the way.
Do you think if they cheated, they should just be put in?
I think the pitchers have been cheating for a long time. I think batters cheat. I think you
cheat.
still got to hit that ball. You know how hard it is to hit that damn ball?
Yeah.
Being
strong, in my opinion, doesn't make you any better at making contact with the ball. It's more power.
Here's the thing. Well, all the homers, they said, okay, well, how many forced line drives just went through the actual mitts because they were hit so hard by the steroid guys? You know what I mean? How many errors that just pinged off your body because it's coming at you so fast?
If you're a baseball player who never took PEDs and you have similar stats to the guy that took PEDs, I would like the one who didn't cheat to get in ahead of the one who did. If you want them both in at the end of the day.
Relative term. It depends.
That's why I'm saying performance-enhancing drugs. The sticky stuff that pitchers have used, the
amphetamines that they had in the clubhouse. What about those? Those get you all jacked up and ready to rock and roll. Those were given out in every clubhouse. When
you talk about, they juice the balls now. You're cheating. The league is cheating. It's just everybody's been cheating. We've just altered the form throughout time. So I do think, in baseball, it's a touchy subject for some people, but I don't think you're not saying that Sammy Sosa he was one of the best baseball players.
Yeah,
He just
greatest hitters of all
yeah.
time. Barry Bonds, greatest hitter of all time.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
Go to NASCAR. What do you think they're doing, right? They're trying to get by
I have no idea,
aerodynamics.
honestly, what NASCAR's doing. All right, let's talk a little college basketball time now for Lauren's Lane.
Now, Lauren's Lane. Opened up by Closets by Design. Imagine your home totally organized.
I just want to mention the fact that Florida plays at South Carolina tonight, tipping off at 9 o'clock. You can hear that game right here on the Superstation with pregame coverage beginning at 8:30. And I will say this, after Todd Golden had those comments at the Gator Talk, it was just kind of that fan forum. It wasn't supposed to go viral, saying that he was going to beat, the Florida Gators were going to beat Alabama anyway because of Charles Bediako and the judge granting him the temporary restraining order and then also extending it, by the way, since then. But then Florida came out against Auburn and just looked listless, right? I feel bad for the fact that there were Gator fans that camped out overnight and they show up, they're rowdy reptiles are ready to go, and then Florida just looked really flat. How can you do that against Auburn when you know that's your head coach's best friend? But that makes tonight's game very important.
Next time, don't have the best friend stay at your house.
Yeah,
He's the enemy.
Don't even let
He's
him come
not a
over.
friend.
Yeah, you're not invited.
No, you can't go back. Go to the team hotel. We're done until after the game.
I mean, I wonder
No
if
friends on that
we'll
basketball
ever see a change in that for Todd Golden and Stephen Pearl. But yeah, the Gamecocks are 11-9. Florida's sitting at 14-6. So I feel like Florida had been playing really well, obviously leading up to the Auburn loss. But every game can be dangerous in the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're not on your shots, right? If you're missing some shots.
Condon, what do you have? 1 point?
Like Auburn against Auburn.
And then free throws. You can't miss your free throws. And that was a problem for Florida earlier last year, but they somehow were able to fix it, obviously.
Didn't
I'm
they
sure a lot
struggle
of
their
time in the
threes
gym.
against Auburn too? Like 7 out of 30.
7 out of 27.
27,
Yeah.
something like that.
But that's who they are. They're
this
gonna
year,
their big guys like to put up shots, even though at home you're sitting there like, that's not your shot to take. You need to pass the ball more, because they're really good when they get that ball movement. But I will say, at the end of the day, Todd Golden's a really good coach. I'm not freaking out by any means, but they do have to watch out for South Carolina guard Michi Johnson. In their last outing, South Carolina lost big to Texas A&M, but he did put up 26 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. So watch out for Michi Johnson.
This will be a bounce-back game for Florida.
If you talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. Maybe mix up those jersey numbers again.
That's right. Get the 99 back out there, baby.
Come on, Xavier. Don that jersey. All right, time for the golden moment. On the other side, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Catch Gators basketball on 1010XL.
Florida's fight for the conference crown continues in Columbia. It's a late start for the Gators and Gamecocks. Tonight at 9 on 1010 AM.
When your home or business deserves more than ordinary glass, you trust the experts. Capital Glass and Shower Doors has been elevating spaces for over 40 years with precision, craftsmanship, and clean, modern design. From sleek frameless shower enclosures to elegant glass railings, wine cabinets, and any custom glass that makes a statement, Capital Glass delivers unmatched quality, service, and attention to detail. Your vision, their expertise. Capital Glass and Shower Doors at capcoglass.com.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Fought for you by Green Law Group on 1010XL.
Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, your locally owned commercial truck headquarters and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hey, it's Rick Ballou. We got a fresh shipment of hard-to-find ProMaster vans, perfect for Section 179. My buddy Tommy and his team are committed to the community and make the process simple. Upfits, delivery, everything handled right. If you need ProMaster vans or commercial trucks for your fleet, you need Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside.
Frank Frangie here, and Big Chief Tire makes it easier than ever to get the tires you need with the Big Chief credit card. No annual fee, low monthly payments, and great promotional financing. Plus, you get free flat repairs and rotations, and right now, $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. I love how simple they make everything. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com to apply for the credit card and get the tires you need today. That's Big Chief Tire.
Jacksonville is the flip side of Florida. And inside the flip side, the action never stops. If you're tired of hearing about the best games after the final whistle, don't get left on the sidelines. Whether it's a unique sporting event you've never seen, a weekend with the family, or a winning date night, Visit Jacksonville is your ultimate playbook. Get in the game. Head to visitjacksonville.com/locals or download the Visit Jacks app today and see everything coming in 2026. Jacksonville. Experience the flip side.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. Are you frustrated with those trendy pills, drops, and lotions that claim to make your hair thicker and fuller? Are you taking weight loss drugs or medication that's making your hair fall out? Whether you're frustrated with results from treatments that just don't work, or you no longer have the fuller, thicker hair that you once had, there's a better way. Our hair restoration solutions have helped literally over 10,000 men and women restore their hair in as little as 2 office visits.
Ready to grow your hair back and have permanent, natural, and guaranteed results? For your confidential consultation, call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or go to hairforme.com. That's hairforme.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's team time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
So I read something earlier that was a little interesting, kind of still in the world of college football, as we were talking a little bit, or college basketball we were talking about, but college football. Only 5 schools have produced both a World Series MVP and a Super Bowl MVP during their time. So USC, who's had Randy Johnson, Marcus Allen, Lynn Swann, and Malcolm Smith, and Sam Darnold could become part of that also if he wins. UCLA, who had Troy Glaus, is that how you say that? Troy, and then Troy Aikman. Florida, who had David Eckstein and Emmett Smith, obviously. BYU had Jack Morris and Steve Young, and then Wazoo had Ron C. and Mark Rippon. So I'm like, that's kind of an interesting stat to look at when it comes to that, and some recognizable names, some not so recognizable names, but USA could add another with Sam Darnold this year. And then that's also interesting when it comes back to that 2018 quarterback draft of Sam Darnold's the one that's going to the Super Bowl before Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen. Yeah,
I wonder when it comes to Super Bowl MVP, if you say the Seahawks win, do you automatically assume Darnold's the MVP, or would you pick Jackson Smith and Jigba, or would you pick Kenneth Walker? Would you pick a
I guess
player?
It would depend. I mean, if Sam Darnold has 3 touchdowns and
if he plays
250 plus yards, no
Rams.
picks like he just played, then you're probably picking Sam Darnold.
Yeah, what a great story it would be, too.
Yeah.
I think New England's defense is going to give them some trouble. I do. I think just looking at them and looking how they've played and how they got, how they got there and winning the games and how their defense fared. The Seattle's defense obviously pretty incredible, but I think New England. I know everyone's thinking Seattle's going to run with it, but I think New England's going to give them a game. I do. I think their defense is going to give them some problems. But the story with Darnold's just awesome.
Yeah.
And again, you think about Sam Darnold over the years, and you're like, okay, yeah, he's been good and he's been really bad. Minnesota, he was great until the end. He was bad, and then you're still waiting to see if that's going to happen with Seattle, but it hasn't, and I hope it doesn't happen in the Super Bowl. I hope it's, they both play well, and they just, whoever wins the game. I don't really care at the end of it, but a great story for Sam Darnold. Never giving up, always working on his game. Talk about not listening to the noise. I mean, think of how much crap that guy's had to listen to or hear from or hear about, or, his jackass cousin, hey, Sam, you should have heard what this guy was saying about, just stupid stuff like that. But he's fought through it, and he's always had the talent. That's one thing about Sam Darnold. He's had a great arm, big guy, very athletic, smart guy. And it just shows you how hard it is to put it all together with the right team. You go to Minnesota. Well, they're not like, the Jets starting out when you got drafted. You go to Seattle, they're nowhere near that. They're pretty set up. What they needed a solid QB. You fit in great. It's Geno out, you in, and you. What's great about it too is you go from what you did in Minnesota, and you just duplicated so far. I read earlier, him and Brady are the only two quarterbacks in history to have 14 wins in back-to-back seasons. Now, Sam did it with two teams, of course, but how about that? He's
crazy.
only two quarterbacks in the history to do that.
Well, and that's what with Sam, even going back to last year, that's why I am rooting that he has a game that you are talking about him possibly being MVP, because last year, his final 8 games, he had 18 touchdowns and 2 picks, completing 70% of his passes, and then the playoffs happened, and it felt like everybody was like, oh, see, this is Sam Darnold. But Sam Darnold, for the vast majority of last year, was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and especially down that final 8-game stretch. And so it sucked that the playoffs kind of sucked the life out of that, because that's what everybody remembered. You're going to remember that last moment of the quarterback. And so we
That's
go back
why
to
they
that.
shipped him off,
Yeah,
basically.
it was. And now they're, I'm sure, regretting that, because they're saying, oh, he can kind of continue on from what he's doing. And we've talked about that when it comes to here and Trevor Lawrence, and this last year of maybe this not the best playoff game. So that's going to stick in some people's brains. And then you have the 2022 season, what stuck in people's brains was Trevor rallied back from throwing 4 picks and beat the Chargers. And that was the storyline that everybody came into that next season remembering. So no matter what you do all year, kind of what you do in the playoffs lingers with people the most. And so for Sam Darnold's sake, and just for the NFL in general, for storylines and kind of the cool comeback story, Sam Darnold having a good game in the Super Bowl, I think would be really fun.
Yeah, it would be great. I also saw, where I was looking at what you guys were talking, there was a graph the first half of the year this year, and then the second half. He played much better in the first half, but he's played really well in the playoffs. He actually led the league with 20 turnovers, 14 picks, and 6 fumbles, but had 0 in the playoffs. So hitting his stride at the right time, that's good news for Seattle and for
That's
Sam
announcer
Darnold.
jinx, though, or at least radio host jinx.
Well, they can't hear us from way over there.
The last person they said Eli Manning, when he won the Super Bowl, was the last quarterback to lead in turnovers and then win a Super Bowl. And it was against the Patriots.
Yeah, that's true. That part doesn't surprise me as far as Eli's concerned. The Legion of Boom was obviously a very famous nickname for the Seattle defense for all those years. The dark side, I've heard it this season, but I feel like it's not nearly as famous as Legion of Boom. But I
Does
feel like
it
if the Seahawks win, then I feel like it becomes a little bit more ubiquitous than it has been.
I mean, they are a violent defense. They run to the football well. They're good up front. They're good on the back end, and they're good at line. I mean, they're loaded. I mean, they are loaded on defense, inside, outside. Can hurt your quarterback. Can stop the run. Get off the field on third down. Close out games, all that good stuff. They're legit. Whatever nickname, whatever, I don't know. Are they calling themselves that? I always feel like nicknames are given, not like you make them up for yourself.
Yeah, I think Legion of Boom was internal, and this one is as well. Yeah, I know several years ago now, the Titans tried to come up with a nickname for their defense. And it was like "My Man Catches No Balls" or something, and it was this acronym, and it did not go.
Not good.
Yeah, it did not go over quarter.
We have the Jacksonville.
Yeah, how long did that last?
1 year.
Yeah,
right.
2017.
Right.
That was a good year, though.
It was great. It was a
I've
great
seen so many
year.
people be like, "Please bring Calais back and let him retire."
The mayor,
Jaguar.
he was called the mayor of
He was the
Jacksonville.
mayor. Yeah, of
Yeah,
Jacksonville.
the dark side, whatever, man. I mean, listen, they play violent football. I felt like every game, it feels like even the divisional playoff rounds, very physical,
Mhm.
very violent.
It was.
The really hard. Now the cold makes probably it hit a little harder,
Mhm.
but just seems like it's really been physical, and it's going to be physical.
The
on Super
Patriots
Bowl
are too,
Sunday.
though, to your point, as far
Oh,
as
yeah.
defensively.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like they're a team that obviously that's what Vrabel prides himself on.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, the Patriots are going to play to the echo of the whistle.
Yeah, and that's what we've talked when you talk about the playoff teams, and a lot of them you talked about the defenses a lot. Denver Broncos, obviously, the Patriots, Seattle, the
Texans.
Rams, the Texans. The Rams kind of started falling off a little. Their front is really good, but their secondary kind of struggled. But for the majority of the season, they were one of the better defenses. And then the Texans. So that kind of shows this world we live in, where you got to have the quarterback, but right now it also feels like you need these game-wrecking defenses to be able to keep up.
Let me just throw a few stats at you because
Go
I
for
looked
it.
at them today. So check this out. In the playoffs, so Seattle's had 2 games. New England's had 3. In sack totals, New England's number 1 with 12.
Okay.
Seattle has 3.
More than the Broncos, really. Well, I guess the Broncos didn't play 3 games, so that
right,
makes sense.
so that third game.
Yeah.
Right. In 3 games, they have 5 sacks. That's number 1
Okay.
in the at least the postseason. Seattle's had 1 interception. Yards per carry. Seattle's given up 4.5 yards per carry. It's a little slanted, of course, because of 2 games. In 3 games, the Pats have only given up 3.1 yards per carry. So talk about a defense that's playing really well in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Will it cross over into the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Remains to be seen, but they're playing some really good defense right now.
They've also benefited from not great offenses between
and the weather.
the Chargers. Well, the first week,
Yeah.
the Chargers, the weather wasn't as bad then. And then, the Texans' offense wasn't obviously ideal. And then they played the Broncos without their starting
Well,
quarterback.
Herbert's offense, that was pretty decent. I think
Well,
they
without
took
their
care of him.
tackles and everything.
Yeah, their line's bad. Well, the worst.
Yeah.
They
So I
still
feel
won
like-
11 games.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
you know,
yeah,
so
their defense has been suffocating for
Yeah,
sure.
So did Houston, and theirs sucks too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Seahawks have had a harder path to get to the
Yeah.
Super Bowl than the Patriots have, but that doesn't mean that the Patriots suck and
Yeah.
that Seattle's great.
Yeah, and I think I do think, which we said in the beginning of the playoffs, like the NFC felt stronger
Mhm.
as a whole, and it felt like the path for either side of the NFC teams felt more difficult. That's why we were talking. You were so confident here that the Jags could get to the Super Bowl because you just felt like the level of it. Some of it is just injury. Some of it is the Chargers with an offensive line. I think are a completely different team. Some of the Broncos with Bo Nix and what he could do with his legs. That game could have looked a lot different. So you're factoring in some of those things, but it's from the beginning kind of felt like it was the NFC was the stronger as a whole, anyways.
And you felt like it was out of the West, for the
Yeah.
most part. Either San
Yeah,
Fran
one
or
conference.
Rams or Seattle.
Yeah.
And credit Seattle. I mean, look, the Rams were right there too. 7 points in 3 games differential. I mean, they
Yeah,
played some tight games.
If the Rams had beaten the Seahawks, the spread between the Rams and the Patriots would have been more skewed towards the Rams than it has been towards the Seahawks, which I
That-
found,
I
at
don't-
least according to
that's weird
odds
to me.
makers, in advance of who we
It
found
was
out.
3.5. Has it moved? Do we know?
I haven't checked
Yeah,
since the game's not this
wait
weekend.
till next week.
I mean, I guess Stafford in that situation is the main skew
I
point.
think so.
Yeah.
You'd trust Stafford in the Super Bowl over Sam Darnold is probably why
Right.
that line would be a little bit different.
According to Hard Rock Bet, the Seahawks are 5-point favorites.
Oh, okay, it's gone up.
5-point
Gone up,
favorites. And I would expect the crowd to be more skewed towards the Seahawks because of the proximity towards Seattle and San Francisco. But Patriots
travels, they
fans they haven't had to go to a Super Bowl in a while, so they've been saving up. All right, Pest of the Day on the other side. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
From the Greenlaw Group Studios. Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Here's hoping for a raise the roof football season. And here's knowing Next Gen Roofing is up for any job. Game day or storm season, you need a team you can trust. And you know what? You don't need a glitzy roofing company. No shortcuts, no gimmicks, no nonsense. Solid roofs at competitive prices and a commitment to the First Coast community. Right now, save up to $300 on your next roof replacement. When you need a roof, you need Next Gen Roofing. Team with you, it's a win every time.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here from Helmets and Heels. With Valentine's Day just around the corner, let Peterbrook Chocolatier make your shopping experience a little bit easier this year. Locally owned and operated with quality ingredients from truffles and hand-dipped strawberries to my personal favorite, chocolate-covered popcorn. This holiday, they also have custom gift baskets perfect for your loved one. Make sure to pre-order between now and February 2nd at peterbrook.com. That's peterbrook.com. Peterbrook Chocolatier, celebrating 40 years of chocolate.
Frank Frangie here. Bono's Pit Barbecue has been serving up legendary barbecue on the First Coast for over 75 years, and right now, Bono's has a smoking deal for you. For just $12.49, you'll get Bono's signature pulled pork sandwich, a side, and a drink. But hurry, Duval. This pig deal is for a limited time only. With 18 Bono's around town, there's always one near you. And if you want the best catering, call 904-332-RIBS. That's 904-332-7427 or online at bonosbarbecue.com. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
New year, new club. This is Joe C., and I'm proud to be a member of Southampton. And with the popularity of golf, getting a tee time is tough. But with membership comes member privileges. Enjoy clubhouse dining, expanded practice area, focusing on all parts of your game. And right now, you can join with an annual commitment and get a $1,000 discount, plus $500 of Pro Shop credit. All the details are online at golfsouthampton.com or call 287-PLAY and make a tee time today at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Youth sports at the YMCA's focus on teamwork, discipline, and building confidence. Our experienced coaches can create a positive and supportive environment where your kids can grow, stay active, and develop a love for sports. Sports like basketball, volleyball, swimming, gymnastics, and even elite skills training. Join the fun and register. Give your kids a chance to be a part of something special. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Hey gang, Prosser here for my friends Chad and Sandy. What are your concerns? What struggles do you anticipate when it comes time to sell your home? What is it that bothers you? What's keeping you from getting max money as quickly as possible? Well, I don't know what those reasons are because I know they're all silly. Because Chad and Sandy have one down-to-the-line guarantee. Your home sold guaranteed, or they will buy it. It'll be at a price and a rate that you agree upon beforehand. So if you need to sell now, fast, easy, stress-free, and you need max price, then you need Chad and Sandy. The government's making moves intended to push mortgage rates lower. The last time rates dropped, we saw a selling and buying frenzy. Now's the time to prepare. It's time to call Chad and Sandy. Darcy in San Jose did. I wanted to move to a more walkable, vibrant area. Within 3 days of working with Chad and Sandy's team, I found the perfect home. They do it stress-free with a guarantee. Go to chadandsandy.com or call 414-6200. That's chadandsandy.com.
Look around and we know you've got options for gasoline, but those other places, they're not in the business of more. At Shell, that's what you get every day. Members get more rewards, more savings, more special offers. You'll even get 10 cents per gallon off of your first fill when you sign up and save on every fill after that. Choose to get more and more with every drive. Join the Shell Fuel Rewards program today at fuelrewards.com. Offer valid at participating Shell locations. Offer must be redeemed within 60 days of registration. Limit 20 gallons. Restrictions apply. Visit fuelrewards.com for more information.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focus, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Come over here, sit next to me. We can see where things go naturally.
So at the top of the show, we talked about Liam Cohen retaining his coordinators. That would be offensive coordinator Grant Udinski, defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile, and of course, special teams coordinator Heath Farwell, who Liam kept on from the previous staff. And then just a few minutes ago, the Jaguars did make it official that they will bring on Matthew Arujo. He will be the secondary coach, and also Brian Picucci. He will be the run game coordinator. So we had already seen that those guys would be added to the staff, but now, like I said, the Jaguars have made it official. Time now for today's Terminix Pest of the Day. Is always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. That's TERMINIX.com. They take care of all the pest control issues at Our House, Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town. I've said this many a time. Once football season ends, concert season begins.
Yeah. All right.
And I have lots that I'm excited about. But today's Pest of the Day, we are losing a downtown staple.
Oh, I saw.
Intuition Aleworks opened downtown in 2016, and unfortunately, the revitalization of downtown probably hasn't gone quickly early enough
Right.
for them to be able to maintain that building. And so the lease runs out in April. And so you can still find your favorite Intuition beer all over town, and you can go to the tap room until the end of April. But that is when they are permanently closing. The owner, Ben Davis, was looking for the right buyer, couldn't find one for the last 9 months. And so I'm super bummed.
Yeah, that stinks.
I love Intuition's beer. B, Intuition's been a great partner of the radio station over the years. And C, it's like the place to go to if you're going anywhere downtown. I love going there and then walking to the stadium or walking to certainly ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena or the ballpark, all the things. Yeah.
Well, they got in there early, hoping that the growth would come, and it just hasn't gotten there just yet. What a shame. It's too bad they couldn't hang on a little bit longer. I know that's tough. You know, easier said than done.
Very underrated charcuterie board.
That's right.
All the best to all of them. You know, whatever happens, we hope you jump back on your feet and everything's A-okay.
That's right. But if you like their beer, I would say shop.
Time to go get some.
Yeah,
That's
time
right.
to shop for it now.
Stock up.
That's right. Let's say hello to the Frangie Show.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnik. Nimnik Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnik Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Brian Pacucci and Matthew Arujo made official Hayes. What do you think about Pacucci?
Well, I mean, obviously he's hilarious and somebody that you absolutely must hang out with at least once in your life. I mean, look, it should be a better staff than a year prior because of the backgrounds that these guys have. I think they would have loved to have had him last year. Couldn't happen, and and now it could. So I mean, I think I think the staff's got a chance to be even stronger in year 2.
I was listening to Duval Rundown this morning, and we went over the stats that Ryan O'Halloran had as far as the offense goes. And you made the point of the Jaguars actually ended up finishing the season with more points but less yards. How does that happen?
Yeah, it was interesting because Ryan does a great job of looking at like every interval, like 4-game, 6-game interval. And so the yards for the offense went down, but the points went up, which it speaks to the complementary football that they were able to play and why it was such a complete team and why, we all thought they had a great chance to reach the Super Bowl. I would encourage people to go check it out. You can read Ryan's stuff at Jacksonville.com. Follow him on social at Ryan O'Halloran. But yeah, it was really in depth, as you would come to expect from his reporting. And he put up the binder, and it was the size of War and Peace. So great stuff. Next Wednesday on Duval Rundown, he joins me every Wednesday. We'll look at the defensive side of things. But all that coming up on the Frangie Show. Brett Hastings will join us for Sports in Court. Okay. So lots of fun stuff to talk about.
Sounds good. And then that's a preview of our Wednesday show next week. We'll talk about the defensive side. Thanks to you and Ryan. All right. Thanks, Hayes. And of course, Gator basketball tonight, like I said, tipping off at 9 o'clock, but you can hear it on the Superstation with pregame coverage beginning at 8:30. That'll do it for us. For Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Again, Shireen Williams, Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, will join us tomorrow at 3:15. So you'll get all the scoop on the Belichick news then. Don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show comes up next. Keep it right here.